Hey everyone, Mr. Happy here, just doing a quick patch note reading for patch 6.45. The notes over on the Lodestone have pretty much everything that we expected to be in 6.45. I don't think there's any major surprises other than maybe some glam-related stuff, but either way, I always post a video on the patch notes, and I got an hour to kill until the patch is actually live. So, let's take a quick scroll through and see what is added in patch 6.45. So, first of all, Hildibrand quests. If you've been putting these off and haven't done the relic because, you just don't want to do it, I will say, I think these have been the best Hildibrand quests that we've had, especially due to the addition of one particular character in the most recent patch, and I'm looking forward to seeing how that continues to evolve. That's genuinely a story bit that I'm looking forward to. It's not just like, oh, I need to do it again for the relic. Genuinely looking forward to this patch's Hildibrand. And so it's weird, but it's a good story so far, I swear. So just a couple of quests for that. After you have that done, Manderville weapon extension. I'm sure it's just 1,500 tomes. Of course, the real question is, well, how does the glam for the weapons look? So I'll have to take a look at that later. But whatever. The Manderville weapon quest actually started with a good story, and it's been relatively funny as well. But, it's, how I feel about the tomes at this point. I'm not going to say nothing. Splendorous Tools also getting an update over in the first. So if you're looking for your updates to your Crafter Gatherer stuff, there's that as well. Quite a few quests for that. Variant Dungeons, we got Mount Rockon with our boy Hancock here. And I'm actually going to be doing that very soon. Variant, Criterion, and Criterion Savage, of course. That's over in the Shallow Moor in Old Charlian. Of course, you need to have Endwalker done and then speak to Osmond in Old Charlian. And then that'll do with the follow-up quest. Keep in mind, this second quest right here, fulfill certain conditions within Mount Rockon. I was wondering if they were going to do the secret ending thing again, and that pretty much confirms that they are going to do the secret ending. Essentially, by collecting all of the endings for Mount Rockon, you get a follow-up quest. They did the same thing with Nanamo back in the previous patch. So that's going to be another little thing for people to work on. I'd assume that the reward is... So in the live letter, they showed us a mount that was like an Eastern ghost lantern. Like, it was an Eastern lantern. One of the ones, one of the spirit lanterns, but it had like a giant tongue. And I remember sitting on the tongue. I was wondering if they had... I had actually forgotten about that because on the website it shows the dog minion, the ninja dog. So I'm wondering if it's either there's two rewards or there's one reward that's for doing all the endings and there's another reward for maybe this quest. That's something we'll have to wait till the servers are up for. But then we do have another mount for Criterion as well, which we know is not the lantern mount because it's shown as a Criterion mount. And also we had two mounts for the previous variant and Criterion as well. One for variant, one for Criterion. So I'm assuming they're just doing the same thing again. In which case, good, because the variant mount looked really cool. And I do like the Criterion mount, but even still, it's 25 Criterion clears if it's like last time, or you get lucky and it's like, do I want to do 25 Criterion clears even on Not Savage? I'm not 100% certain. We got the new Blue Mage quests as well, and the crowd goes mild for Martin. You do need patch 5.2 in particular done. I believe that's what Reflections and Crystals was 5.2. But I mean, this is 70 to 80 stuff, so you only wouldn't be able to do this if you weren't caught up, to the last 3 years of the game. So sorry if you haven't played in the last 3 years. You'll gotta get caught up sooner or later. New Game Plus also has Mount Rockon and Blue Mage added. There's some furnishing design winners. That furnishing reminds me, it reminds me of the current variant, because I was thinking the design almost reminds me of the previous Criterion a little bit, but only a tiny bit. It's got a few other things in there. But we have some other things. We have the broken vase with the flower at the top. I actually really like that one. We've got a safe. We've got the different, the different cactar family. That one I really like, actually. All the different cactars that there are in Final Fantasy XIV. Plate of cookies that's just on the floor. Bamboo sticking out of some rocks. And then we also have some more statues. These are, these look exactly like they're from Mount Rockon and everything. Yeah. All of this looks like it's from Mount Rockon. I guarantee you, and I say this, don't take it too seriously. That the sitting armor man is the Criterion Savage reward. Oh, that makes me sad to say out loud. New Orchestrions is probably Criterion as well. Well, I wonder if they're going to use a different Criterion theme, because the question was if the Criterion theme we had was the generic Criterion theme before, or if that was specific to another Sildine subterrane. I guess we'll find out soon. But Triple Triad, new cards, new opponents, you know, the usual. New hairstyles we have here. There you go. Probably Criterion related again. New emotes, also expecting to probably be. You never know. I mean, I'm just trying to latch on to anything being Criterion related at this point. Battle system Blue Mage level cap. New blue magic spells have been added. And we had some changes to some blue magic spells. Ice Spikes, Veil of the War. Wait. Oh, I think it's saying these 3 effects cannot be applied at the same time. Veil of the Whirl and Shiltron cannot be applied simultaneously, and Veil of the Whirl says Ice Spikes and Shiltron cannot be applied. Yeah, I'm just assuming that applies to all 3 of these, that these are both just, you know, they're just adding Shiltron into this little combination here. And finally, a long overdue change, Ethereal Mimicry Healer now affects opponents who have all healing effects. That is so long overdue, you have no idea. And Shiltron, yeah, I was going to say, Shiltron is a new action, because that's not any of the existing ones. Yeah, it's just a new action that's there. So, help text will now indicate which other blue magic spells share a recast timer. That is very useful. New stages for the Masked Carnival. New entries added to the Blue Mage log. Become available as you complete certain Blue Mage job quests. Entries are not available for Seed of Sacrifice, Extreme, or Memoria Misera Extreme. I think I know why. But still weird. I think the answer to those is fairly straightforward, but still surprised. Yeah, not allowed to limit break in those fights. Variant dungeon Mount Rockon has been added. Explore the winding paths of Mount Rockon. Yeah. Hey, there's the dungeon. Item level sync is 665, but you only need 605 in order to enter, and then it'll sync everybody to the same item level. That's for the variant, not for the Criterion. And then entering Mount Rockon, it's the same thing, the VNC Dungeon Finder, and you can enter solo or in a pre-made party for variant in case you forgot. So if you want to do it alone, go ahead. If you want to do it with a group, go ahead. Just make sure that you have your variant action set to something that will make it doable for you alone. Role requirements when matching with a party, there are no role requirements. They can freely change any job or class that has reached to level 90 as long as you're outside of combat. These are all just the variant stuff. Attribute adjustments, variant actions, setting variant actions in case you didn't do it the first time. They just explain that right here real quick. And then there's exchanges for tokens. So the dog is probably from variant dungeon tokens. I forgot that you got tokens from variant? I don't remember that from the first one. So I wonder if that did happen with the first one. You had to have. Weird that I don't remember that from variant. I only remember the Criterion and Criterion Savage coins, but the variant must have had coins. Oh, it did have coins because there was... I think I remember some of the rewards from that. Yeah. Okay. There's coins now. It doesn't matter what it was before. I'm going to rack my brain on this. Then you have Criterion, which is unlocked after you do at least one ending of variant. Don't need to do all the endings, just need to do one. I will say this, though. If you do as many endings as possible for variant, one advantage to that before doing Criterion is you tend to see all of the Criterion bosses, and you tend to see at least the normal mode version of all of the mechanics you will need to know. Whereas someone like me, I'll do the one ending for variant and then learn all of Criterion when I go into it. So there are advantages to both depending on what your preferred playstyle is. And don't shirk one or the other. So bear that in mind. So after you finish Mononoke Aware, you can unlock this. And entering another Mount Rockon, you do need one tank, one healer, one melee, one physical ranged or magical ranged. So that is something that you need to do. Now keep in mind that that's if you are matching into parties with random other players. That can be quite the experience with Criterion. Obviously, if you're making a pre-made, they don't enforce that kind of stuff, as is normal. Party composition bonus, however, The party members will gain a bonus to damage dealt according to the composition of their party. The bonus increases with the number of jobs in your party that rely on actions that affect the entire party. In other words, jobs like Dancer, which require big raid buffs and really harnessing other players' DPS, are given just like a compensation buff. Whereas a job like Machinist, which doesn't rely on them at all, doesn't obtain any sort of buff. This is to just equalize the balance between the jobs because you're only going in with 4 people. I'd actually forgotten they did that. When I was thinking about what job to play, I was like, yo, Machinist is probably cracked right now. I had forgotten that they did this, though, which, you know, kind of makes me going Machinist pointless. I'd completely forgotten. Bonus system is intended to compensate for the proportional decrease in utility of such actions as the party size decreases. The effectiveness of the damage bonus will differ between roles. This bonus will only be applied to jobs and has no effect on classes, in case you're wondering on trying that. Variant actions. The only variant action there is Variant Raise 2. Everybody gets a charge, and it's only a single charge, but it will refresh. I think they even buffed the number of times it refreshes in the previous Criterion at some point. I think before it used to only refresh on death or on killing a trash pack. I think that sounds right. I think you got like 2 extra charges, which was pointless because as soon as you wiped, everybody got their charge back. So it never made any sense as to why I did that. So additional rules, resurrection restrictions. You can only raise with Variant Raise 2. You cannot use a regular raise, but everybody has a Variant Raise 2, which is nice. And then you have the tokens. Then you have Savage, which is really where the big question marks rise. Now, I will say this, with my experience with the previous Criterion, you do not need BIS for Criterion. Do not think you need to have BIS. Do not tell your friends they cannot come if they do not have BIS. You want gear that's relevant to the current patch. That you definitely want. As for Savage, you also don't need BIS, but you want to be a lot closer to it. you don't want to be in like full crafted gear for Savage probably, because the amount of damage that the trash mobs were dealing in the previous Savage, the DPS check for beating the entire dungeon, especially while you're learning, it's tight. It's not that tight, but it's tight. It's enough to consider that you will not want to be messing around gear-wise for Savage. But if you just want to try Criterion itself, don't worry about being absolute BIS. If you've been collecting loot, any loot for the past 7 weeks, then you probably are okay in there. Now for this, you unlock the dungeon after you complete the regular Criterion. And really the only difference with Savage, the enemies have more health, the enemies deal more damage, especially the trash mobs. And the AoE indicators for the trash mobs are also entirely gone. On top of that, you cannot resurrect at all. There are no variant actions. And you have about, if it's like last time, you have about 24.5 minutes, 25 minutes to clear the entire dungeon from the moment you pull the very first mob. Or they all get a sewer dweller buff and you just die. The dungeon enrages, essentially, is the big thing. Only thing that's said here is the party composition bonus, and then here's the additional rules. Respawn point, and if you wipe in Savage, you have to start the whole dungeon over again. If anyone dies, they can't get up. If you wipe, you have to start it all over. So it's basically one giant 24-minute dungeon speed run is the best way to look at it. And then also, if you disconnect, then you come back dead. So you basically have to start over. And that's it for the Criterion stuff. Oh, and if you're still doing Abyssos, the Echo is raised to 15%. New items. Looks like we're going to have a new glam outfit. I'd assume that's from Criterion or Criterion Savage, but you know, you never know. The weapon design contest winning, or grand prize winning entries. Now it says entries. I know the cane right here, the umbrella, I should say, that is an entry winner, but it says entries. So I wonder if, I know there is another Blue Mage entry, and we usually get 2, maybe 3, I think. Most of the time 2 new Blue Mage weapons. So I wonder if it's just the other Blue Mage weapon that was also added, or if they used any of the design winners for the Manderville weapons. Big question mark, but I know that umbrella is a contest winner. New recipes have been added. Further Splendorous Tools enhancements have been made, enhancing them. This is all just part of the quest. Disciples of Hand, do that. Disciples of Land, do that. It's telling everyone to do the new quests. That's it, the thing we mentioned earlier. There's new mining, botany, and fishing nodes that have been added. New items added to gathering points. New mount. This was listed under Criterion on the patch 6.45 promotional site, so we can assume that like the throne was a Criterion mount before, that this is the Criterion mount. It was 100 tokens last time. And you got 4 tokens for clearing Criterion, hence why I say it takes 24 runs, but you can get it in Criterion itself as well as a drop. And if I recall correctly, you can sell these, which they usually sell quite well because nobody does it. I think the music sheet from the old one also sells really well. New minions. This was listed under variant. So again, I assume this is from the variant tokens. New fashion. Oh, so remember that mount, the lantern that I said I was almost certain would be all the variant paths? That is basically the mount, except this is the mount as an umbrella. So this is a pair. Obviously, this is a fashion accessory. It says that. But if I needed to be even more sure that it was probably the mount from variant from either the tokens or the 12 clears, then yeah, the fact that this exists is reason enough for me to believe that. New achievements and titles have been added. The 10th anniversary stickers and frames have been added to group pose. These are limited times. If you're someone who likes to celebrate with G pose and wants to celebrate the 10-year anniversary, which is officially August 27th, then you might want to get to doing that now. The instances for Garlemald and Elpis are being removed. Sad face, that's 40 less 40? Yeah, 40 less tomes for me every week for my hunt train, so sad. / reference, this is for the emote earlier. New trophies for PlayStation 5. New music and sound effects have been added. And finally, we have some issues. An issue in the bar indicating that a stats effect can be removed with Asuna would disappear when targeting a party member. That's toxic. An issue in Island Sanctuary where earnings from sales of handicrafts at the workshop could not be received. That's not good. And let's see what the known issues are in case these might affect Criterion. An issue of the side quest not from around here when the incorrect BGM will play when a certain cutscene ends. Issue 6.4 side quest cutscenes wherein certain graphics do not display properly. Heroes Gauntlet where they don't display properly. Mount Rockon where they don't display properly. Gathering Logger and Splinter's tool list does not display in the correct order. And another Mount Rockon Savage Criterion dungeon where a timer-based enemy enhancement effect is incongruously named Sewer Dweller. Okay. But it still does. All right. That's fine. Okay. There's nothing that I need to worry about, like random bugs or anything for variant. Or I mean, maybe there are and they're just not known. That's entirely possible. But that's going to be it. That's everything in patch 6.45. A little bit of advice and tips for any of you who have not done variant or Criterion in the past. And hoping that the Manderville weapons at least look good, even if I am not excited about another 1,500 tomes. Because let's be honest, almost certainly what it is. Maybe not, but almost certainly what it is. Anyway, that is going to be a wrap for my patch overview. Now I'm going to go chill and wait for the servers to go live. And then I'm going to be doing Criterion proc all day. So thanks everyone for watching the video. Be sure to like, favorite, subscribe, and share. And Twitch, I will stop ignoring you now. Although, to be fair, sometimes you deserve it. Anyway, thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Take care.